Okay, welcome to another Pencast. This one is on exchange rates and predicting exchange rate movements. Alright, just creating a little bit of room. So what I'm going to be dealing with first of all is what factors shift the demand curve rightward for the New Zealand dollar. Right, so the first thing is that we've got incomes in other countries or economies rise. So what we're talking about is changes in real GDP. So if you have an economy where suddenly the real GDP goes from 3% say to 5%, then what that means is that incomes in that country have risen. And so naturally they will want to buy products and services produced by other economies, including ours. So what's going to happen for the demand for the Kiwi? It's going to rise. Let's just illustrate that. So there's the supply of New Zealand dollars. There's the demand New Zealand dollars. So they're going to want more cheese, New Zealand cheese. They're going to want more wood. And they're probably going to want more holidays in New Zealand. So what's going to happen? They're going to have to convert their currency into New Zealand dollars to make those purchases. And so the demand for the New Zealand dollar is going to go rightward. And that means that there's been an appreciation of the New Zealand dollar. Okay, that's pretty simple, isn't it? Okay, changing page. Right, this one here is talking about interest rates. And so let's just say interest rates in New Zealand are 10%. And if we compare that with Australia, where interest rates are, say, 8%, where would you rather invest your money? All else being equal. I know where I'd put my money. I'd put my money in New Zealand because I'd be 2% better off. So what we're talking about is an interest rate differential. I'll write that, interest rate. Interest rate differential. Running out of room. Alright, so we're talking about there's an interest rate differential favouring New Zealand. So that's going to attract foreign investors that want to invest in our financial market rather than invest in economic capital. Remember those two types of investment. So again, let's just go to our market. Here it is here, let's draw it. That's the supply of the New Zealand dollar. That's going to be the demand for the New Zealand dollar. Okay, we've got this interest rate differential in New Zealand. And so what's going to happen? The Aussies are going to demand New Zealand dollars to undertake financial investments in New Zealand because they know they're going to be better off. And as a result of that, what's going to happen? You betcha. Our exchange rate has appreciated. Alright, turning. Now, this one is about speculation. And so what the speculators believe is that the New Zealand dollar is going to gain value against a currency or a number of currencies. So let's just model that. So what we've got here is 1 New Zealand dollar equals 1 US dollar at T1. Then we're showing the New Zealand dollar gaining value if I make that 2 US dollars at T2. So what does that mean? Well, look, if you had 100 million US dollars, and I wish I did have, what you'd do is you'd convert them into New Zealand dollars, so that'd be 100 million New Zealand dollars at that first exchange rate. Then you'd wait, and the New Zealand dollar would gain value. And then what you'd do is you convert these New Zealand dollars back into US dollars at the new exchange rate. And you're going to make 200 million US dollars. Yeah, I know it's surprising, isn't it? There's a lot of money to be made dealing in foreign exchange, but I should also add there's a lot of money to lose in dealing with foreign exchange, because remember, it's a zero-sum game. Alright. So now we're going to move on to supply. What causes the supply curve to shift right. So when we talk about supply, that's New Zealanders supplying their dollars to the foreign exchange market. When we talk about demand, it's usually foreigners demanding New Zealand dollars. Alright, so if income rises in New Zealand, look, if real GDP goes from 3% to 5%, that means that incomes for a lot of New Zealanders have gone up. And with that comes a change in preference for imported goods rather than, say, domestically produced goods. And to get hold of those foreign goods, what do we have to do? Well, we have to convert our New Zealand dollars into foreign dollars so we can buy those goods. So again, I'll just come to our little foreign exchange model. Here it is here. Here's the supply of New Zealand dollars. Here's the demand of New Zealand dollars. So what's going to happen as our incomes go up, we're going to buy more imports, aren't we? So we're going to, oops, got that curve going the wrong way. Sorry, it's very easy to do. Just get rid of that. Line is not, oh, it's just disappearing on me. Oh, that's great. Alright, I've got a bit of a repair job to do here, haven't I? Alright, and so what's going to happen is that supply curve is going to move this way, isn't it? And so what's going to happen is that the New Zealand dollar is going to depreciate, the New Zealand dollar is going to lose value. That's right. If the demand curve shifts right, it's an appreciation of the New Zealand dollar. If the supply curve moves right, it's a depreciation. It's the opposite, isn't it? Right, well, changing. Again, look, this thing, we've already visited it. Now let's reverse the interest rate relativities. In other words, let's say that there's an 8% interest rate on financial markets in New Zealand as opposed to a 10% interest rate in Aussie. So where would you rather have your money? If I had my money in New Zealand, I'd convert it into Australian dollars. Why? All else being equal, I'd be better off by 2% interest. So again, let's come down to our model here. Here's supply of New Zealand dollars. Here's demand of New Zealand dollars. And which way is that supply curve going to move? Well, you and I are going to rush to that market to change into Aussie dollars. So the supply curve is going to move that way. And what have we got? We have definitely got a depreciation of the New Zealand dollar. Alright, changing the... Okay, here's speculation. Instead of the dollar gaining value, we're going to see that the dollar is going to lose value. Okay, well let's just set that up. 1 New Zealand dollar equals 1 US dollar. Remember, this is parity, exchange rate parity. Or P-A-R-I-T-Y, that's good. 1 for 1, that's what it means. Now that's at T1. What about if we make 1 New Zealand dollar now equal to 0.5 US dollars at T2? What we can see is that the New Zealand dollar over time has lost value. So what does that mean? Well, look, if it was me, if I had 100 million New Zealand dollars, knew the dollar was going to lose value against other currencies, I'd convert it into US dollars. That's 100 million US dollars. Then I'd wait. That exchange rate change happens. And then what I do is I convert that 100 million US back into New Zealand dollars, and I'd get 200 million New Zealand dollars. That's not a bad gain, is it? Okay, just adding another page. Okay, I'll just change this, just give us a bit of room. There we go, we want to do some modelling. Okay, alright. Oops. Okay, so let's just complete it. Here's our model. Here's the supply of New Zealand dollars. Here's the demand for New Zealand dollars. Speculators believe that the New Zealand dollar is going to lose value relative to other currencies. So they're going to want to get out of the New Zealand dollar very quickly. So they're just going to supply New Zealand dollars. And so what have we got? Well, it's telling us that we've got a depreciation of the New Zealand dollar. Now, just to recap, just getting into the detail, what we've got down here are New Zealand dollars. Here is the supply of New Zealand dollars, and I put here sell. Then we've got the demand for New Zealand dollars, and in brackets here I put the word buy. And here we've got our equilibrium exchange rate. Now, how to label this axis here, this y-axis, how do we label it? Well, I might make that 0.8, and I might say this axis here represents so many US dollars. So I'll say 1 New Zealand dollar equals so many US dollars, because remember, currencies have a 3-letter code. That's how I'd label that axis. 1 New Zealand dollar equals so many US dollars. Alright, I'll stop there. Catch you later.